Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. This is the 1-Up Superstar Series, and we are at race 14 of 30. We're closing in on the halfway point of the season, but there's still plenty of racing action still to come in this season, and we're coming at you live from the Kentucky Speedway out in Sparta, Kentucky. It's a very fast 1.5 mile intermediate oval, and I'm sure it's bound to give us some high intensity racing as well. Alongside me in the booth, just like last week, is my friend Cade Welty, and for this race, it's a track you know particularly well, as opposed to last week at Paris, so you've got more insight for us than you had last week. So what is your big tips for getting around this track quickly?
Well, last week I spent time trying to figure out what the track was even called, but this week I know what the track's called. They got green walls, so look out for that. But the main thing I would say is try to roll that outside to middle lane in turns 1 and 2, and then hug that bottom in 3 and 4. Almost Harvick line it is what you would do at Atlanta. But yeah, my tips and tricks are if you can get the car to really roll in 3 and 4, I think you'll make most of your time up there. So it'll be an interesting race to see. I'm excited. We got some really fast cars up front and some guys who are fast starting farther in the back of the pack. So I'll be really, really excited to see how this race goes. So thank you for having me. And I'm not jet lagged like I was last time trying to fly into Paris, France.
And with qualifying taking place yesterday, we can give you the full starting lineup for the race here at Kentucky. Christian Vargas gets his second pole of the season. He got his first at the Pensacola 500. He gets his second here at Kentucky. He lines up on pole position with Duke Antczak alongside him. Daniel Bouchard gets his best start of the season in third, alongside Vargas' teammate Stephen Hunter, the defending series champion, in fourth, putting 2 Revolution Racing cars in the top 5. J.D. Martin rounds out the top 5. And as you said, some drivers that we normally expect up front starting deeper in the field. Like, for instance, Nick Ortiz and Kyle Vaughters. They start 40th and 41st in this race. They've got a lot of ground to make up, but like we said, these cars are normally up front, so we should expect to see them charging through the field fairly steadily.
I agree.
And with that being said, the cars are lined up on the grid. We are ready to bring you the action for 94 laps around the Kentucky Speedway. This is the 1-Up Superstar Series, and the green flag is next. With Christian Vargas on the inside, Duke Antczak on the outside, the pace cars on pit road. Leading us into the restart zone, the 54 and 83, both Toyotas. Heading into the zone, the green flag is out. We're underway here in Kentucky Speedway, and Christian Vargas is doing everything he can to keep this lead. Daniel Bouchard's following him along in the 73. They're sending it off in the turn 1 for the first time. Vargas seems to have the advantage as well as the entire inside line, surging forward here in the opening lap.
Yeah, that 83 spun those tires there, didn't get going. I was about to comment as he makes the pass to the inside. He's been hot recently at Paris. He won that race in a closing finish. So it's going to be interesting to see this 83 if he can go 2 for 2 so far.
And coming off of turn 4, Christian Vargas will lead the first lap ahead of Daniel Bouchard, Stephen Hunter, and Duke Antczak going off into turn 2. You can get side by side here very easily, as you can see the whole field fanning out wide as they exit turn 2. Daniel Bouchard's going to try and take a peek under Vargas as Hunter tries to get a peek under Bouchard as they head into turn 3. I'm curious if what you said at the top of the show is going to hold true, whether you want to be on the top in 1 and 2 and on the bottom in 3 and 4. It looks like it so far, but the only time will tell as Vargas leads by a nose over Bouchard as he goes for the lead on the inside.
Yeah, that Dodge looking fast off the gate. That 73, he's on that spot where I told him to, but in the wrong corner. You gotta do it in the 3 and 4, man. But the 54 looking strong as I think that's the 51 on the outside of the 73. So yeah, looks like the inside lane should prevail here. But we got good enough car. The outside lane rolls for you. Could definitely work here. So
yeah, Stephen Hunter now assumes the second position and makes it a Revolution Racing 1-2 right now. These two drivers are teammates. Hunter has 3 wins this season, and they all came consecutively at Monza, Kansas, and Phoenix, while Vargas got his first win of the season a few weeks ago at Pocono. So both drivers with wins this season, 4 wins total for the organization, and they're looking to add a 5th here this afternoon in Kentucky. They're roaring off a turn 4, 1-2, Vargas and Hunter to complete lap number 4.
yeah, talking about back in the start of the race, that 83 is dropped back to 5th. So just That's what it stopped. That's what happens when you're on the outside here at Kentucky. If you don't get the push, it's gonna be really hard to get back going. But we'll see. We'll track that 83 going through the field, but a lot of racing left. We're only 5 laps in, coming to 6. So I think we got the 2 strongest cars just out front right now. But that 18 is slightly making moves over there. I'm watching him. That Dogecoin 18 looking pretty fast. Toyota's looking fast overall here.
That 18, Jared Polanski in the 18 came in 4 points behind Justin Hutchinson for the overall lead of the point standings. He got a win earlier this season at Atlanta, but hasn't won since. It's been a bit of a dry spell for this 18 car. He's hoping to rebound here at Kentucky, a track he knows very well, so hopefully he can right the ship a little bit. As J.D. Martin in the 66 now looking to the inside of Daniel Bouchard, who chops him off going into turn 1. It looks like Bouchard will have the advantage going into the corner, but I don't know. This 66 looks really fast, and remember, he also has a win this season at Denver. So these two are going to be battling it out for third, but they can't battle it out too long, or they're going to let the 2 Revolution Racing cars pull away.
Yeah, like I was saying, speaking about the points leader, Justin Hutchinson, he qualified 18th, so he has a lot of ground to try to make up. So it's going to be really interesting to see. And the 18 qualified 6th, so keep an eye on that 10 car if he can work his way up through the field, or we might see a new points leader at the end of this race. But as we talk, it's like 2 wide, 3 wide almost back there for 4th and 5th and 6th, basically. So Duke Antczak looks really good right now, though. This Toyota's just look really good. It's going to be interesting to see can anyone dethrone the top 2, though. Kind of seeing a repeat here.
Yeah, if there's anyone who can do it, I believe it would be J.D. Martin in that 66 Chevrolet. He's gotten past Daniel Bouchard, and he is starting to close in on the 2 leaders over time. Although, we do have 5 of the top 7 being Toyotas, and 6 of the top 10 going back to Kevin Carter in the 10th position, Duke Antczak's teammate. So, the Revolution Racing cars seem to have this race in commanding fashion right now. But J.D. Martin is starting to close the gap into these guys. He's only a second behind, and it was more than that a little earlier on. So Martin has dispatched Bouchard, and he's going to start to make his way towards the front. It'll be a very interesting battle when he gets there.
Yeah, and when he gets there, do they play the little teammate battle where they basically kind of go side by side and take up all the lanes to where the 66 has nowhere to go? It'll be interesting to see here. You are correct, though. He is closing fast. I'm watching these lap times. 2/10 knocked off the board there. So the next couple laps here, but he should get drafted. It's going to be a battle for the top 3 here. I think we might see a new leader. I don't know. But speaking about battles, the 83 and 18 are battling back there for 6th and 5th. Again, Duke looking fast again. I just don't know what they've put some more pep in their step recently, but he's 3rd in the points right now, so looking for another good day.
With 2 wins in the last 4 races, that's a very good stretch for that 83 car. And it's with his teammate also running in the top 10. That's good momentum for that Carter Racing System organization. But right now, it's J.D. Martin. He's caught the 2 leaders already. He's within half a second, and he's right on the bumper of Stephen Hunter for 2nd position. Will he try and take it now? He's going to try down the inside. I don't know if it's going to work because coming up on turn 1, the outside line is preferred up there. But he's going to give it everything to try and get past this 51, but Hunter holds him off for now.
I don't know if there's a bit of contact there, but look at the 51 like jumped out of line pretty quickly, as I think we have a pass for the leader looking. The 51 gets his door shut on him, but I think that 66 gave a little bit of a nudge to the 51 saying, hey, I want to go. So it's going to be a top 3 battle as they're within 3/10 of each other, and the next car back is 1.5 seconds.
That would be Daniel Bouchard in 4th. He's having his best run of the season right now in that Genesis Engineering 73, a car he owns, while his teammates in the Bobo Jones and William Brock, they started fairly well, but they haven't quite cracked the top 10 yet, but we'll see if either of them can manage that over the course of the remaining 80 laps of this race. But right now, it's a 3-car battle for the lead. 2 Toyotas and J.D. Martin's Chevrolet, all within 0.3 of a second, a quarter of a second separating the 3 cars, and they just dive it off into the turn 2, nose to tail. think J.D. Martin has the faster car of these three, and he's going to try down the inside of Hunter once more for second place. He'll have the preferred line, but Hunter is just that strong on the outside. He'll keep the position.
Yeah, but look how much time he made up there. I know he lost a little bit, but if he keeps doing that and Martin keeps screwing up there, I don't know. This is going to be close, but I think the 66 is going to pass them both. Because the front two are getting a little rowdy up there. You see the 51 trying to make a little bit of move, actually. He's going to pull to the inside here.
No, he's going to tuck back in line. But these two are known for putting on the loud pedal when it really matters. They both have wins this season. All three of these cars at the front of the field have wins. Hunter's got a three-peat, but he hasn't won since then, since that horrible crash at Las Vegas that put him out of action for a little while. So Hunter looking for some redemption, perhaps, to try and get a win to pad his all-time wins record, which currently stands at 6 career wins. No one else has more than 3. So Hunter is very much in command of that all-time win list, but Vargas looking to get his 3rd career win here in this race at Kentucky. He's led all 17 laps so far. It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see if either his teammate or the 66 of Martin can get back around him.
Well, do you know who I think can notch their name into that 3-win category? The car back in the past for 4th right now are battling for 4th. Duke Antczak. Man's on fire. I know I keep talking about him because he's just that good. So I think he can punch his name into that 3-win column, but he has to pass 3 really good cars right now, and still has to pass that 73 is. Speaking about cars, looking really good. 51 and 54 are driving away. Toyota teammates driving away from the 66. Think he used up his stuff too quickly there?
I don't know. It might just be that they're working together very well. They've got the 2 fastest laps of the race so far, with Martin holding number 3. So these 3 have been the fastest cars on track all race long. And as we start to enter lap 20 of this race, Vargas has led them all. Hunter right behind him. I'm surprised that Hunter's yet to make a move on his teammate, honestly, though, because Hunter, as much as he wants to play the team game and help his team owner, Christian Vargas, he really, more than anything, wants to get back to victory lane and reassert himself as the dominant force of this Superstar Series. He went for 3 weeks undefeated earlier in the season at Monza, Kansas, and Phoenix. It just goes to show how strong that 51 team is in defense of his championship, but he's all the way back 6th in points, almost 100 points off the points lead, so inconsistency has really bit this team hard, but he's looking to rectify that here at Kentucky in a strong 2nd place early.
I was about to say, I think he's done playing the teammate game, and it looks like my theory was correct. The 66 is going to give him a little bit of a oomph. I think these 2 cars up front are so good that they can run that outside lane, and you have to have a special car to roll the outside lane here. It's one of the hardest things to do. Your car has to roll that thing good, so be interesting to see. The 51 looks like he's kind of tired around behind there. I think you're right. I think he wants to get back in victory lane, and I think that 66 wants to get back in victory lane, so he's going to go for 51 at all time.
Yes, and with the 66 and 51 and 54 all pulling away from Daniel Bouchard in 4th, 2.2 seconds the gap between the lead and 4th place as they head down the front straightaway to start lap 22. Vargas has led them all, but Hunter, I still think that Hunter and Martin have faster cars than the leader Vargas. It's just passing is a bit difficult. Not as hard as it was last week at Paris, but still quite a task, because catching cars is one thing, as we saw J.D. Martin do earlier in the race, but passing them is a whole nother story.
Yeah, what we just watched there, I told you the 51 went high on the 54, didn't go anywhere. So I think it's just how you time your momentum there as the 54 shuts the door on the 51 again. These teammates aren't playing like teammates right now. And team owner versus employee basically aren't playing nice as the 51 tries to make a move to the inside. So I'm telling you, this inside lane is where you want to be. That little dark middle groove is probably the best place to be if the car can run it.
Yeah, and Vargas, I'm sure, is not wanting to play the team game because he wants to prove he's just as good or even better than his championship-winning teammate right behind him. But J.D. Martin's just looking at this intra-team battle and saying, hey, if you guys want to keep fighting like that, go on ahead. I'll just get by both of you and take the lead here. But the running order's been pretty similar these last several laps, but with the top 10 pretty much single file now, it'll be interesting to see who among them will make the first move to try and get around the car in front for position.
I think it's that 51. I think you're about to have a little bit of a teammate on teammate, team owner on employee, you name it, we say it. I think there's going to be a duel between these two. And third place cars, JD Martin's going to be like, yeah, go where y'all want. I'll push the car that I think he can. I think JD Martin can pass the 54 better. So if they get side by side, if you're JD Martin, you got to look at the 54s. Now we're looking at the 73. The Dodge.
It's good to see Dodge back up front in this series. They have yet to find the keys to victory lane this season, but I'm sure they have the cars to do it. They just need the right position to get there. And Daniel Bouchard so far is in a great position as we look back through the field. Nelson Reeves in the 7th position, the highest running rookie in this race, right ahead of fellow rookie Diego Yepes in the 77, who finally cracked the top 30 in points again after his penalty from Las Vegas. Kevin Carter now gets past Zachary Fitzwater in another Dodge for the 9th position. And there's Bouchard's teammate Bobo Jones in the blue car back there in the 86, right ahead of Miles Mashburn and Jeffrey Finn. Guys, right now we've got a 3-wide situation for the lead down the back straightaway. Martin wisely backs out of it. But man, that was almost contact between the Revolution Racing teammates. It just goes to show how far they're willing to go to try and get this race lead.
If I'm JD Martin, I'm like, what do I have to do to pass these guys? You saw he goes to the inside. Guess where that 54 goes? Up the track to give his teammate draft. So he's going to wreck them. I mean, I don't know how you're going to get around these guys, but like you were saying earlier with those two guys battling there, it's tight battling here in the back as you see 2 wide in front of the leaders for that Dodge. Speaking of that 77, didn't he run good also at Paris?
He did get a top 10 in Paris.
He got his first career top 10, right? Yes, last week.
It was his second top 10 last week. I misspoke earlier. He's on pace to get 2 in a row, though, at this rate. Miles Mashburn and Jeffrey Finguy running just outside the top 10, with Justin Hutchinson getting around Cody Goforth, who had a very good qualifying effort for that 5395 racing team. He started 7th. He slightly dropped through the field a little bit, but he's still a solid 15th, which would be his best finish of the season for that 60 camp. So even if he's dropping through the field a little bit from his 7th starting spot, that's still a very good run from that 60 car, and he really deserves one, because after that DNF at Paris, he really needs to right the ship. He's back to 33rd in points, so he really needs a good run to get back into the top 30, a place he's held for a while now. And looking back at the lead, it's changed hands. JD Martin has swept past the Revolution Racing teammates. We've got our first lead change of the afternoon, and JD Martin now leads at lap 31.
Good. I think we found the fastest car so far on the track. But what we were saying earlier about those guys in the back, the 21 is also falling back in the with the 60. He started P11 is not near P11, that's for sure. So hopefully see a good rebound. He was fast at Paris, so it's a little weird to see that 21 a little off pace here. But you know who isn't off pace? These front 3, they're gonna duel it out to the end, or until at least green flag stops, and then it becomes money time for the pictures.
Absolutely, but JD Martin is now in the best position because he can dictate the pace. As Vargas and Hunter start to battle for position once again, they're no longer battling for the lead, so they figure they might as well see who's faster among them to try and find out who's the best car to take on Martin in the 66. But right now, it looks like Martin's starting to pull away. I think we were right in saying that he had the fastest car among these 3. Because right now, he's starting to pull a gap. It's almost 0.4 of a second now. We look back through the rest of the field. Christian Vargas is just ruining that move that Martin made. He had the lead. He had it for about 30 laps. But it just goes to show a fast car will do you wonders in this race. That Martin is not just a fast car. It's a good handling car that can get around this place. As we go back to where we were at in the top 10, Patrick Smith's making a good run in the 07. He started deep in the field. He's making his way up into the top 20. Jeff Bolton running 19th in this 38 car. He's also a driver who needs a good run. He's mired back 37th in points, well outside the top 30. He needs a good run to keep his hopes of making the top 30 alive, and he's running right behind Lane Sanders and right ahead of Stephen Gale. Not very bad company to be in, as Gale tries to make a pass on Bolton here for, I believe, the 19th position.
Yeah, I was actually about to say something before we cut to the 38. The 07 is up, I think, almost, he's up, I think 12 or 13 positions. He started back all the way outside the top 30. Now looking into the top 15, top 10. So strong run, strong car. I think that car gets better over time. But it's shocker to see Lane Sanders mired back here. He qualified 19th and running right around there. So he's fast at Paris. Those Fords look a little off here.
Looking back to the rest field, Ben McDonald, Anderson Reed, a rookie, Andres Molina, J.Q. Halleck, and now Henry Thomas in the 25. In the 25th position. He was third fastest in practice, so I'm a little surprised to see him back here, right ahead of rookie William Brock after that very hard hit at Paris. We're glad to see he's all right and racing again. But I'm just a little surprised to see Thomas back here as we see Ricky Freeman Jr. He's been on the hot seat at Finish Line Motorsports lately. Joshua Michaels, Richard Herman, Blair in the 19, who had such a good run at Paris last week before finishing second. Right ahead of our teammate Nick Ortiz, who started 40th. And he hasn't really made that much ground. He's gotten up to 31st, but other than those 9 positions he's gained, he's not made as much progress forward as I thought he would. Remember, Nick Ortiz came into this race 5th in the points he had 8 top 10s and 13 stars. So I'm a little surprised to see him back here, but he started 40th, so I would have expected him to climb through the field a little bit faster than this, but I'm sure he'll have a way to get up there as well. Glenn Mixon ahead of Arthur Xavier right behind him. Ryan Silper's back there. Roberto Crown Jr. after that crash at Paris is running near the back as well. Michael McCuskey, Kyle Vaughters, the Armory Digital winner. Ethan Zanstra and teammate Daniel Voiles running 39th and 40th. And right at the back of the field, Braden Saul in the 78 and Brandon Beal in the 37. That is your run through the field. We are at 40 laps completed. J.D. Martin's led the last 10. And right now, it still looks like a 3-car battle for the lead. I'm not sure who's going to come out on top, but it looks like that 66 has it all taken care of, for now anyway.
Yeah, I would like to say that I honestly think these 2 teammates in the Toyotas, 54 and 51, I think they're only there because of the draft they're getting off the 66. Once the 66 got around, he's been quietly gapping them. And speaking about those 2 teammates, I think their cars are like about equal, so I think it's really hard for them to pass. And speaking on Nick Ortiz, like I said, it's hard to pass here, and I think with the tire fall off, eventually you're just not going to be in the right lane you need to be. As we have a pass for the lead with 2 teammates working together. Oh my God, they're almost 3 wide.
And they almost make contact at the 51 and 54. That's getting him out of shape, and that's going to allow J.D. Martin to get past both of them once again. He continues to lead. And we're closing in on halfway, which is coming up at lap 47. So 5 laps time, we will be halfway in this race. It'll be interesting to see who gets the advantage after pit stops. We will have 1 set of green flag pit stops in this race. It'll be... The exact pit window is a bit of an uncertainty for these drivers, but it should be well past halfway, so we'll be well within our window to make it to the end of the race. But the exact lap will be an uncertainty for everybody. They just want to ride these tires out as long as possible, and man, the 54 got really close to the 66 of Vargas right there. That was really close as they battle for the lead.
Yeah, these guys are racing before even green flag stops. I mean, they might wreck each other before even the Pickery gets to fire those air guns. But now they're getting side by side back there. We're just going to let the 66 just scoot on away in the sunset. I can't sing, but I would.
Well, it's certainly smooth sailing for J.D. Martin out in front as Vargas and Hunter continue to go side by side for the second position. But keep in mind that pit stops are still within sight, and with 50 laps to go, it'll be very interesting to see who pits first to get the advantage of fresh tires first. Because keep in mind, if Polanski or Bouchard or Antczak back there in 4th, 5th, and 6th, if they can pit first, that'll be a big advantage to them, and it might bring them into this battle. because you can barely even see him in the shot. They're so far back. 4.4, 5.1, 5.4 seconds off the lead. So as Hunter has gotten past his teammate Vargas for second, so the running order has flipped from what it was on lap 29. We're now at lap 46. It's Martin, Hunter, Vargas, 1, 2, 3 right now.
Yeah, I'd like to give a good shout out to that 86. He started P13, he's up in the 9th and top 10, so good run for him. And same with Miles Mashburn, started P14, he's up into the top 10, so 2 good runs there. While we were watching this battle for the lead, the 18 passed the 73 and the 83, who I thought were both stronger than the 18 because 18 struggled. I think he has a good long run car. I think if these front 3 weren't in draft with each other like this, I think the 18's gonna be up here in the long run. It's just I think he got unlucky with not getting the lead pack draft where that long run won't really show. So good running there for the 18, needing a good points day. So.
I'm sure he won't be happy finishing behind Stephen Hunter again. Remember, a majority of his second place finishes this season have come behind Stephen Hunter. Even if Hunter hasn't won, he's finished directly ahead of the 18 in some capacity. So this 51 versus 18 rivalry is going to heat up as the season progresses, I'm sure. And they're running second and fourth right now, with J.D. Martin out in the lead of this race with 4 Toyotas right behind him, and Vargas, Hunter, Antczak, and Polanski with Daniel Bouchard's Dodge in between. So it'll be a very interesting battle. The lights have come on here at Kentucky Speedway. It's a wonderful sight to see these cars racing under the lights here at Kentucky Speedway, and we're just past halfway.
Yeah, I guess that finishing second behind the 51 is happy marriage for the 18 of Jared Polanski. So, but if you told me is driving away from all the Toyotas, I would have laughed in your face. But it's proving me wrong. JD is fast right now. I don't know if anyone can catch him. He gets better and better off the long run. He's just driven away from the 2 fastest cars that we thought were unbeatable at this rate. And I think he's the car to beat. He's the car to beat at the start of the race. He's the car to beat in the middle. He's the car to beat at the end. And what does that all mean? He's the car to beat. If you want to win this race, you got to pass that 66. I don't know who can do it. Maybe someone farther back who just doesn't have the lead draft.
It's very well possible. We are past half distance in this race, so it is official no matter what happens from here on out. And it means that we can make it to the end of the race on just 1 pit stop. Don't know quite when that'll come, but I'm sure the leaders will be among the first to pit, so we'll have a very clear sign of when that happens in the running of this race. As right now, it looks like they're spreading out a little bit at the front, with J.D. Martin holding a lead of about, it was 0.6 the last lap. It is now down to 0.3 as Hunter closes in on Martin for the lead. Hunter is the defending champion, but he hasn't won in a while, so it'll be interesting to see here if this 51 can really close in, make ground, and potentially even get past Martin in the 66.
Yeah, while we've been watching this race, they've been slowly moving up where they're trying to move grip as these tires wear. Honestly, unless the 51 can use the draft right, I think the only way you beat that 66 is off strategy, off pit road execution, so it's going to come down to those guys with the jacks and the gas and the guys who work their butts off to have 1 money stop. I think that's what it's going to take to beat these guys. I can't wrap my head around anyone getting around the 66. Remember, he caught these front two. These front two had draft on their own, right? They were basically tandem drafting. The 66 caught him and passed them. He passed 2 teammates. Teammates are going to stick up for each other. Did they kind of try to race each other? Yes. I think the 66 is the clear favorite. Who will upset? I don't know, but my pick's the 66 right now.
All right, so with 54 laps in the books, we've got J.D. Martin out in the lead of this race still, and his gap is growing now ahead of the 2 Revolution Racing cars. Jared Polanski's now cemented himself into 4th. Daniel Bouchard and Duke Antczak continue their battle for 45th position. Miles Mashburn and Kevin Carter battle it out for 7th ahead of Jeffrey Finguy, who's made gains into the top 10 in the 92, and Bobo Jones rounds out the top 10 in another Genesis Engineering Dodge. But right now, like you said, J.D. Martin is just cruising right now. But we still have pit stops still to come, so it's anybody's guess as to when. Actually, they're starting.
Oh, it's happening right now.
They're coming to pit road right now, and it looks like somebody had a bit of an issue getting to pit road. You can see the dust there. Might have been Ethan Zanstra in the 28, or someone, because there are a lot of cars now on pit road. Jeff Bolton is going to go for the rest.
Oh my God!
He's got an issue getting to pit road. It looks like he'll get there, but that will be a commitment line violation for the 38. Oh, and he makes contact with Andres Molina in the 71. That is going to cost them big time.
You have to think his brakes went out or something. I was just about to say the 23 threw a smoke bomb for the leaders trying to pit, but the 38 took it a whole nother chance. Oh, he just took, wow. It's going to be interesting to see the penalty there, but oh my, there had been a brake failure there, or brake dust getting up in there where he couldn't, because they do use their brakes here. I mean, that is true. But, oh, the 66 off pit road very quickly here.
And Vargas has gotten that ahead of Stephen Hunter very critically. So, and Bouchard and Antczak are sitting in the pits. Cody Goforth having a bit of a slow stop in the 60. But, and he'll merge out in the midfield. But Jared Polansky has stayed on the racetrack. He's going to try and run it long and hope for a caution flag. Because if he gets that will be a huge benefit for Polansky, because he will have the whole field trapped if he manages to pull that off. Because, yep, the scoring pylon just updated. He's the only car on the lead lap right now. So, and he got his wish!
Oh my God!
The caution flag is out. Jared Polansky's the only car on the lead lap. Ethan Zanstra.
Oh, it's the 23!
The 28, you misnumbered. The 28 of Ethan Zanstra is out of the race on lap 58, but J.D. Martin and Stephen Hunter and Christian Vargas, they could not have prepared themselves any more for this, because I believe that Jared Polansky was on pit road as the caution came out, and the worst case scenario.
A lot of cars with damage here, though.
Yeah, Cody Goforth with a lot of damage. It's tough to see after his DNF last time. Yeah, there you can see Jared Polansky exiting the pits. He may have just caught the break of a lifetime in this 18, because the worst case scenario for him is that all these cars will be on the tail end of the lead lap, and he'll still have a 28-second lead over them. So, yeah, see, look at that. They're all cycling behind the pace car. It's well off the pace of Jared Polansky, so I believe this race has just shifted into the 18's favor, incredibly so.
Oh, before all the shenanigans started, I was about to say, the 18 is probably going to catch a caution for how these guys are trying to get to pit road. They basically can't, but, oh my God, the 28, who had problems getting onto pit road, wrecks. So maybe a flat tire from running into the dirt after putting a new tire. I don't know. Maybe ran over something. It'll be interesting to see. Look at the replay. But the 18 just got the gift of God from Christmas. Whatever you want to say. The 18 has the race in his lap. The thing is, can he hold on to it?
So we will get a replay of what happened to Cody Goforth, Ben McDonald, Ethan Zanstra, and the rest of the field under this caution flag. And we'll get you that replay shortly here at Kentucky. So here's Cody Goforth. Zanstra's already had his damage, but Goforth's trying to come back to pit road, but he just collects Bobo Jones. I don't know who to put the blame on there, because you could have given him a little bit more space, but at the same time, Jones had that really sharp pit entry angle, so it's tough to put any blame on anyone in particular. That's just an unfortunate incident for Goforth and for Jones, but I'm curious as to where Ethan Zanstra got his damage.
Bobo, he was running in the top 10 all day.
Yeah, and here he comes. He wasn't clear of Ben McDonald. He just washed up into the 86. And it was lucky his teammate didn't get involved in that.
Oh!
And then Zanstra just piles into the back of McDonald with nowhere to go. So I believe the 28 will be the only casualty of this wreck. So the 28 will not finish this race, but it looks like everybody else will, which is a bit surprising considering the extent of the damage. But right now, it appears we'll have 41 cars still in contention for this race. Although, realistically, we've only got Jared Polansky on the lead lap right now, because everybody, I should say, all these other cars are on the lead lap. You can see that on the scoring monitor. They're just on the very tail end of the lead lap. You can see Jared Polansky at the very back of the line. It would take another divine intervention to take this win away from Jared Polansky at this point, because all he has to do is slice his way through the field and hang on to about a 30-second lead. How hard is that going to be?
It's gonna be about as hard as it is to count to 2. I'm just shocked. I thought we are gonna have a great battle from green flag stops all the way through, and first it started with drivers not knowing how to pit, and then it turned to drivers not knowing where they are on the racetrack. It's gonna be interesting to see here.
The lights are out on the pace car. We'll have half a lap now until the restart. JD Martin will lead them to green, but he will be in second place on the restart. Christian Vargas will be third, Stephen Hunter fourth. Miles Mashburn has made his way into the top 5 ahead of Jeffrey Finguy. Patrick Smith has made an incredible drive in that 07. Diego Yepes, Stephen Gale, Kevin Carter rounding out the top 10, but they'll all be miles behind Jared Polanski, who's at the very back of the line, but he will be your race leader as we come to the green with just over 30 laps to go.
I know, we just said Jared needed a good race. He got gifted a good race, so it's going to be interesting to see. But he is starting. You see the little black spot back there? That's where he is.
And coming off of turn 4, heading into the restart zone, the green flag is back in the air, and JD Martin will lead him off into turn 1. It'll be interesting to see how Jared Polanski can navigate all this lap traffic. He's got the whole field in front of him. He wants to put as many cars between himself and the 66 as he possibly can. The scoring will update itself next time by, but you can see that 86 car well off the pace. He's already mid-pack. That dark blue car at the top of your screen. So, as you see, Vargas trying to get underneath Martin for second, but the lap car of Nelson Reeves helps him out a little bit. That will allow Martin to hold on. 3 wide deeper in the field, but right now JD Martin is back by 26 seconds. So, this race has become Jared Polanski's to lose at the turn of a hat. But the question is, can the 18 hold on for 30 more laps as he tries to get by all this lap traffic? You can see him there. Right, we're focused on him now at the back of your shot. He's only got 2. You look at this lap traffic. I don't know. He's got to hang on to this lead, but it's such a big lead to hold on to. Does he really need to fight these guys?
I think you do. You got to use up these fresh tires as quick as you can. He's already lost a second. And we still have 30 laps to go. They're going to catch him in 25 laps. I mean, you got to push hard as we're 3 by 3 marching along here in the rear of the field. But if I'm the 18, you got to push as hard as you can, because when these tires fall off, that 66 is the fastest on the racetrack.
But keep in mind that the more lap cars that Polanski puts between himself and JD Martin, the better off he will be, because those lap cars will take up a chunk of Martin's time. So that will allow Polanski to extend his gap once again. It's down to 24.5, but I really believe that Polanski has been given this race on a silver platter, even though we still have 30 laps to go. This race has turned in an instant just from that one caution flag coming at the perfect time for Jared Polanski. It could have gone a little better for him, but if he had had all the cars trapped a lap down. But now you can see he's got 4, 5, 6 cars between himself and JD Martin on the racetrack. The gap is shrinking, but I really believe that Polanski's got this one locked down.
I'm going to be interested to see here. I mean, what this race is going to come down to is, can Polanski drive away from all these lap cars? And if the 66 does catch his lap cars and Polanski, do they get out of the way? Because we've seen this 66 car, as the race goes on, is faster and faster, as no time is actually lost there. 18 is running, I would say, about, he's running way slower laps than that leader is, so it's just, can he, if I'm the 18, I'm pushing hard, but not too hard where you wreck yourself. Especially
when you're racing cars that you know are slower than you, like Braden Saul, Brandon Beal, even Lane Sanders. So he knows that these cars are not as fast as his, so he can afford to take his time with them, but not too much time, like you said. He dips his left sides onto that apron to try and find a line that no one else is running. You can run down there however much you want. It's just going to be very tough to get past. He tries to make a move here on the inside of Brandon Beal. It's going to be interesting to see if he can get around. They're 3 wide right now with Braden Saul in that 78, but Polanski has got an immense lead on his hands, and we're closing in on 25 laps to go. I'm just not sure if the rest of the field can catch him at this rate.
Yeah, it went down only by 5/10. So, by my math, they ain't catching the 18. We don't remember. I said this earlier in the broadcast. The 18 was, I think, the second best long run car. So if you take a 23-second lead, second best long run car, that's a happy little get together for a nice victory lane photo. So it's gonna be interesting to see. Can a 66 pull off like a comeback? I mean, is that what we call it at this rate? He did dominate, but is it a comeback now? Like, what do we phrase this in the headlines?
Well, right now, Jared Polanski's is just focusing on getting past these lap cars. Cody Goforth in the 60, just a heartbreaking race for him. He started in the top 10, started 7th. He was running really well in that 60, but got involved, had a slow stop, got caught up in an accident, and he is now 1 lap down in the 36th position. That's just not what he needs to make his way up the points ladder, but hopefully next week in Indianapolis he'll be able to rebound, because that is a very prestigious event and I'm sure he'll want to do well there. But right now he's got to focus on the rest of this race, but even though he's just been lapped by our new leader Jared Polanski, he still has about a 23-second lead. I'm just not sure if anyone can catch him at this rate.
I know, and I think this is what we have kind of forgotten. These guys are battling our leader back there to stay on the lead lap. They know it's not for position. They know it's to keep any position on the track, right? So they're going to, that's I think another problem for the 18. They're going to be throwing bad blocks on them. They're not going to want to give it up. And if that's me in that situation, I'm going to block him too, because he's not up in the front. He's where we are. So it's going to be interesting to see here. But while we've been talking, only a second has dropped off the board in like 4 or 5 laps. I just don't think he can pull it off here.
We'll see though. We've got 22 laps to go, coming to 21 at the line. JD Martin has gotten around the lap car of Nelson Reeves, so he will be at the head of the train coming off of turn 4. But he's got 3 hungry Toyotas right behind him in Hunter, Vargas, and how about Patrick Smith? Started outside the top.
That guy's been on fire.
He started outside the top 30. He's made his way up into the top 5. And Nick Ortiz as well. We saw him a moment ago. He started 40th, and he's knocking on the door of a top 10 spot as well. So this caution may have really benefited more than just Jared Polanski here. A lot of these cars came from out of nowhere to try and take some good running positions here as we go back to check on Jared Polanski, our race leader. He's gotten around Jake McMillan to put him a lap down. He's trying to get a move on Henry Thomas. Blair in the 19, Roberto Crown Jr. Roberto Crown Jr., by the way, is Polanski's teammate, so it'll be interesting to see if Crown does anything to either help Polanski or hurt the lap cars around him.
Yeah, sad. I mean, it looks not great for Blair. She was dominant at Paris, lost to Duke Antczak, probably a heartbreak fashion. So a little off to see her running here in the back, with especially Jake. Like, look, these 2 guys in front of the leaders were extremely fast at Paris, and we come to Kentucky. Well, some would say an entirely different track and setup, but it's hard to pass here. And they just don't look like they got the special stuff. But that 07, he's up to 4th now. He's past that 51. He's been blazing fast. Outside the top 30, he's gained 26 positions through the entire race. This guy's on a drive for his life. I think if we have a late race caution, I think that 07 might be able to get it done.
It just goes to show the level of competitiveness in this field, where you can have one car dominate one week and they can be running midfield towards the back next week. It just goes to show that we have so many cars in this field that are able to run up front on a regular basis. That's what we love to see in the 1UP Superstar Series. We love to see parity, we love to see diversity in this field, and we would just love to see all these drivers contending. And McMillan's actually gotten past Polanski to get back on the lead lap, and he's just chopped him off in such an aggressive style. I'm really looking to see, because the lead has not really closed as much as I thought it would. So we're coming up on 15 to go. I'm curious to see if they can make any more inroads on the 18, because Vargas has gotten past Martin for 2nd and out, and Hunter's gotten past as well. So Martin may be starting to fade a little bit, and the Revolution Racing cars starting to come to life as they're now running 1, 2, 3 for Toyota.
I don't know, man. I don't know if anyone can catch this 18. Well, I'm watching these lap times. I've been studying the analytics while I've been watching this racing. They're not putting down lap times enough to catch this 18. If there's no more cautions and the 18 doesn't blow an engine or a tire, you're watching about 20 or so laps of just victory lane celebration, basically. Great strategy by this team. It's gonna be interesting to see, can anyone caution or just drive up to him?
It was such a lucky break for Jared Polansky to catch that caution when he did. He was the only car to stay on the racetrack and try that. I'm a little surprised at that, but Polansky's willing to do anything to get to victory lane, and right now, with about 15 laps to go, he's on pace to get his second win of the season and the fourth of his career. So that'll be a very, very good sign for Jared Polansky, and it should allow him to retake the points lead as well from Justin Hutchinson, who right now is running just outside the top 10.
I mean, we came in today going, the 18 is 4 points back. The 18 this. Well, I guess we spoke it into whatever you call it, because he's leading the race. You say it's lucky. I say it's a great strategy call, because he purposely stayed out an extra lap, I think. I think they saw that cars were having trouble getting to pit road, and I think their whole plan was to run it out longer, but they brought it down once they started seeing cars like starting to struggle to get on pit road, and they were like, hey, go now. They're spotters. I mean, they got great communication here. Great strategy call. That's what I call it, but I think you're right there. You need a little bit of luck to get in victory lane.
And the lead is still 22 seconds as we have 12 laps to go here at Kentucky. Polansky's still trying to get around Jake McMillan. I think he's realized at this point that he doesn't need to race these guys at all, because the 54, 51, 66, they're not catching him is the thing. So he can afford to let these guys go and just run his own pace, because he's going to win this race regardless of what happens. Although, unless a yellow flag comes out or if something happens to the 18, but that's the last thing on his mind. He's just got 11 more laps to go, and his second win of the season will be his here at Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, really, we can talk about the great stories, but speaking of great stories, I think 6-6 is fading, but yeah, this 18 is. He was fast earlier. I thought he was the favorite to win it before the strategy. I think you'd have to have really bad omens to not be the favorite now. Or you just might want to see a great race, as he gives a bump to the 81.
That's his teammate, remember, Roberto Crown Jr., who is... Well, I hope he isn't going to hold up his team owner there, but he's going to make the 18 run way higher than I think he wants to. So the 81, I hope, would get out of the way of this 18. He ducks down to the bottom now. Hopefully, the 81 won't cause too many problems to his team owner in the 18. But right now, he's just in such control of this race. He's got 9 laps to go. He's got a 22-second lead. He's got everything in the world going for him right now. Oh, is Anderson Reed gives him a little bit of a love tap going in the 3. I'm sure that won't really impact him too much, but that's just Reed showing Polansky that he wants to get his lap back in that 15 car. But Jared Polansky has just taken this race over from the 3 dominant cars earlier in the race, because right now they are 22 seconds off the lead, and I just don't see them closing that in 7-8 laps.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but I was broadcasting a race one time, and it was at Bristol, and one leader, he was out he was almost he was a half a lap ahead of the field, and a lap car dumped him and caused a wreck and caused a caution. His race chances were over. Not saying it's gonna happen here in about the last 6 or 7 laps, but never say never. But you're right, he's got everything. That's the key word. He's got the, I don't know, man. Like, if I'm the 18, I think you learn on how to just cruise. I don't know. Maybe install cruise control into that car for this.
Keep in mind, though, a caution flag at this point in the race would actually help Jared Polansky because it would end the race under caution. We do not have overtime rules in the 1-Up Racing Series, so if a caution flag were to come out at this point in time, I believe it would end the race, and that would just gift Jared Polansky to win. But now he's running up on the Paris winner's bumper, Duke Antczak, in the 83, who's struggled since the restart. He's fallen way off where he was running earlier in the day, but Jared Polansky's just got 5 more laps to hold on and try and get his second win of the season as they're 3 wide ahead of him. That's really not what Polansky wants to see, because he just wants them to be single file, perfectly in order, trying to just finish this race, because we're coming to 4 laps to go this time.
What do you think Jared Polansky's saying on the radio? Think he's singing to himself or driving with his knees? I got the driving with the knees probably, but what do you say to these guys who dominate the race? Like, hey man, I mean, Nick Ortiz up to 3rd, great drive by him, but
that's Jeffrey Finn guy in the 92 actually. Ortiz is back in 9.
Oh, sorry, my
bad. But that's still a good run for Nick Ortiz.
Still a great drive.
He started 40th and to make his way up to 9th. That's very good. Although Christian Vargas has dropped all the way back to 10th. And he started on pole, led the first 30 laps. So that's probably not where Vargas wanted to run. But how about Patrick Smith? He started outside the top 30. He's running 4th in that 07. And he's going to be the highest finishing rookie in this race, unless something bad happens in the closing stages. And here, we have the 2 Robbers Racing teammates, Mashburn and Martin, battling it out for the 5th position. Mashburn has 2 top 10s this season, both of which are top 5. But he's going to have to work for it to get a 3rd as Jared Polansky comes to take 2 laps to go here at Kentucky.
I'd like to point out that 35 having a good drive. He started outside the top 20 in qualifying, and he's up into the top 10. So, good day for that driver, but, I mean, heartbreak for the Power 3. But some people could argue that, hey, the 18 was just as fast as his Power 3. He just didn't have the lead pack draft, which is true. As they're 3 wide with his teammate, and Duke Antczak, Toyota's working against each other, looks like. But I think they're just racing for fun, but yeah, heartbreak for the big 3 at this race. Dominant fashion. I thought it was going to be a 3-car duel for the end, but got flipped upside down like people in Australia.
Yeah. White flag is in the air one more time around from Kentucky. And Jared Polansky, what some may say it was gifted to him, others might say he pulled off a great strategy. Both may be true at the same time, but coming for 3 and 4 for the final time, Jared Polansky with a 20-second lead. This is going to be the biggest margin of victory all season. And as they come to the start-finish line, Jared Polansky takes the checkered flag, and he will finally get his 2nd win of the season at Kentucky Speedway. And it'll be a race from here on out to get back to 2nd. There's Stephen Hunter. The tables will have turned on him because normally he's the one finishing ahead of Jared Polansky. But this time, as he rounds turn 4, he will settle for 2nd place. A very good run for that 51 car. Patrick Smith with the drive of the race. He started outside the top 30, and he gets the final podium place ahead of Jeffrey Finn guy. J.D. Martin fell back to 5th ahead of his teammate Miles Mashburn. Stephen Gale, like you said, got 7th at the end. Good run for him ahead of Daniel Bouchard. Christian Vargas fell back to 9th, and Nick Ortiz started 40th, gained 30 spots on the day to round out the top 10. And a wild race here at Kentucky. We never quite knew the outcome until that caution came out. And once it did, I think we all knew that Jared Polansky was going to have a very good day.
This is what, back-to-back weeks where the race has been like flipped upside down. We thought Blair was going to dominate and win, and then we thought that 66, 51, or 54 was going to win today. So, I don't know what's going to happen next week. We're going to show up, and I guess the whole field's going to explode at this rate. I mean, gosh. But, great drive for that 18. We said he needed a good point stay to retake the lead, and he did just that. So, props to the 18 crew and the Dogecoin. They just party hard tonight. Maybe they get some up there in the Dogecoin, get a little bit more. But maybe he gets paid in Dogecoin. Who knows? But great race. Thank you for having me. I don't know what's going to happen next. I mean, we keep having wild cards after wild cards.
Yep, and next week's race will be one of our crown jewels. It'll be the first time the One Up Superstars series takes on the most famous racetrack in the entire world, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're going to be so looking forward to that one. Speeds of up to 200 miles per hour roaring across the yard of bricks. It'll be a whole bunch of fun for us, and we'll find out who wins the very first Brickyard 400 here in the One Up Superstar Series. We hope you'll join us for that race as well. So from Cade Welty and from myself as well, we'll say goodbye for now from Kentucky Speedway and offer our biggest congratulations to Jared Polanski, who showed the field what's up.